Hello everyone, welcome back to Bag Only, the ultimate Iron Man with no additional storage and all that stuff. In today's episode, I'm going to focus on getting our melee stuff back. We actually sort of did our range rebuild last episode, but we still need to go get our Slayer Helm back and our Dragon Defender back. And also I want to focus on getting 70 Prayer finally, because we've got a lot of unlocks locked behind Piety, quite a few diaries and stuff like that, so I want to get that done. Then also, as ever, we're going to smash out some quests, so it should be a good one. Buckle up and let's get into it. So just grabbed a cheeky thieving level there, but the first thing we're actually going to do is go and complete the My Arms Big Adventure quest, because I'd like to do Swan Song a bit later, and you have to do this quest first. Now the first thing we need is some camel dung, so we just nip back to Poln of each, grab the spicy sauce once again, use it on the camel trough and get a few buckets full of dung. And then I've already got some farming patches where some super compost has been made, so I'll just get 8 buckets, fill them with super compost, and then these two items are used together to create a farming patch on the roof of the Troll Stronghold. Okay, here we are in the Troll Stronghold. Now, this quest unlocks a herd patch on the roof here, and there's an agility shortcut here which you need 73 agility for, which we do actually have, but I think you actually need a diary to get up this. Yeah, you need Fremy Hard. Also, once you've unlocked that shortcut, if you do make the teleport to Troll Stronghold in your house with the basalt from the subsequent quest, then it actually teleports you up on the roof to the herb patch instead of down at the bottom. So it's definitely something we want to do eventually. So anyway, we talk to Burnt Meat here, and we take his little apprentice around the world to try and find some more goutweed for the trolls to cook with. We're now back in Burthorpe. We've got our empty bucket, so we'll just grab whatever's in this cauldron. I think it's the remains of some goutweed. Obviously that's not enough, so what we have to do is take his apprentice, My Arm, round the map. Obviously the gout tubers grow over in Taibo One Eye, so we take him over there to learn the secrets, and then we set him up on a herb patch on the roof of the Troll Stronghold. And then going forward there's a herb patch there that we can use as the player, and it can't be diseased because My Arm actually looks after it for us, which is really nice. So here we are. Here's My Arm, the friendly little farmer, and we're going to use our dung initially on this farming patch, because obviously this is just like, there's not even soil up here, it's just coarse rocky terrain, so we need to kind of build a farming patch. That's why you have to bring just so many buckets of compost and dung here. So here we are in the jungle. We need to go harass these people and learn the secrets of their gout tuber farming. Now, since we have actually done this favour already, like a few episodes ago, we shouldn't actually need to do any cleanup during this quest. We should just be able to talk to a couple of NPCs, tell them that we've helped them out, and then leave. Oh wait, I was going to say of course there's a Broodoo victim here, because there always is, but we actually do have a super anti-poison, so we can actually kill him. We're like UIM Verf Karemja. Really, these guys need a troll in their midst, just to help with all the cleaning up. He seems very efficient at it, to be honest. So the troll causes so much trouble, the guy just gives us a whole bunch of goutweed seeds if we'll just leave in peace. So that's that. So we give My Arm all the farming tools he could possibly need, and he plants them in the soil here. And then we'll just crossbow this bird to death and it should be the end of the quest. That looks like a big hit, a 3 XP drop, woo! Oh, so actually for this quest you get 5,000 farming XP as you'd expect, but you also get 10k in herb lore, which is really good. I didn't expect that, I didn't look at the rewards till just now. So that's it, the trolls now have knowledge to grow their own goutweed finally. My Arm teaches us about herbs, which is 10,000 of the best herb lore experience. There it is. That's My Arm's Big Adventure, a nice one actually, really quick, relatively easy. I'm glad we did the Taibo One Eye stuff already, so we didn't have to go do that first. So we need this for the next My Arm quest, which is making friends with My Arm, but that quest also requires Swan Song. Okay, so Swan Song quest. Now interestingly for this one, we actually need some mist runes and lava runes. Probably the best place to get them if you're not crafting them yourself is either Spiritual Mages, which need 83 Slayer, which we won't be getting just for this. And then also, I guess you can get them with points in Mage Training Arena maybe? You can buy some like runes in there. But obviously we can't go back in the enchanting room because we now have cash again, so that's not on the cards either. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy ourselves an emerald. We're going to make ourselves a binding necklace. We can actually claim some free essence from Wizard Company now we've done the medium diary, so we'll grab that as well. And then we'll just run around, grab some talismans, some other runes, and then we'll make our own mists and lavas, I guess, for this quest. Right guys, I initially went over to Dorgish Khan to try that guy's chest for some talismans, then I remembered this area that we came to the other day to do Devious Mines and get those pouches. I'm just going to try and kill these leeches and get some talismans from them instead. I'm fairly sure it's a decently common rate. These guys also have a chance to drop that elemental tally that we pulled last time, I think it's 1 in 128. So if we grab that, we'll be able to access 2 different altars with that, instead of needing to get all 4 talismans. But yeah, these guys are really good, they have 10 health and they respawn, like you can see, in like 3 seconds. So even if it is like a 1 in 64 drop rate or something for the talismans we want, it's going to take no time. Right, there we go guys, that should be everything. I've got 1, talisman for one of the kind of runes, one talisman for the other kind of runes, and the elemental talisman. So that should allow us to get in. There we go. Awesome. So that's our mist runes. Now we need some lavas. So we still have charges on our binding necklace, which means this will definitely succeed this time. I remember the last time we did some kind of quest that needed combo runes. I think it was a diary, actually. We failed like once, so we had to come back and get another talisman. Not making that mistake again. Right, gamers, here we are at the very beginning of the Swan Song quest. And what we need to do is do a quest to help this guy reclaim and repair this fishing colony, because it's sort of broken and infested with sea trolls. In order to do this, we need to enlist the help of the wise old man, an ex-adventurer who lives in Draenor village. And in order to recruit him, we need to bring him these runes that we made, as well as these bloods that we just bought. Now, this quest is all about the wise old man. It's supposed to be his quote-unquote swan song, which means his final adventure. But of course they included him in subsequent quests after this, so it kind of no longer makes sense. I'm not sure they intended this with the wreath, but it doesn't move with the door, Jagex. So we enter the fishing colony with the wise old man, and it's immediately attacked by some sea trolls, which is not really very nice. I think this is the only time in the game you see sea trolls. It's really odd to have an enemy like this in a quest and then not have them, like, unlocked afterwards for a Slayer task or something. So here we are, finally inside the colony. We'll go talk to Herman. Now that we've cleared some of the troll menace, we can help him fix this place up a little bit. So we bring this guy the bars and the tinderbox and the log so we can get all that out of our inventory, which is really nice. What we need to do is fix up the furnace and this like metal press, and we can use those then to repair the fences to stop more trolls getting in. I'm not sure why they decided to make a fishing colony up here if it's so infested with trolls, but maybe monkfish are just that appealing that it's worth the risk. But again, this is not going to be the meta place for us to do any further fishing if we do decide to do any. Probably head over to Temperos or probably go to barb fishing. There are a lot of better options than monkfish. Right, buddy, got you some lovely fish. Only burnt one of them. That's not too bad. So now we've repaired the walls and we've fed the citizens. So let's talk to Herman and see what it is we need to do next in order to secure the colony. I think he entrusts us with going to make some defences. So what we actually do is we create a pot with a lid on with a magic spell inside with all these bones, and we create some mystic reanimated skeletons with the help of a mage over near the crafting guild who helped us with Fairy Tale, and then with that undead legion to protect this fishing colony, it should be a little safer. So as you can see, this guy here is obsessed with making zombies and skeletons. He's created a whole zombie army in the basement of the Wizards Guild, which is apparently allowed by the Wizards Guild. We'll see if he'll help us. He says no. So we head over to our Rat Catcher's teleport, and then we can go inside the Crafting Guild, and then we talk to the Master Crafter, learn about the pot lids, and then we should be able to go back to Malignus Mortifier with our airtight pot and our bones. Then we need to prepare for the fight and head back to the colony. Oh, he actually teleports us up here. So I guess since he already teleported us here, we'll attempt this boss fight with no supplies whatsoever. I'm expecting we'll have to immediately tally out. Hopefully you can actually hit this thing with range. It'll be good to find out now, even though I don't expect we'll be able to kill her this trip. Like I say, supposedly she hits 25, so as soon as we get down to 25 health, we'll just dip. Before we have Lumbridge Elite done, if we do die, then we can't use fairy rings to get back to our corpse, because our Drayman staff will be on our death pile. So it's just, I don't want to take unnecessary risks. It says stand in melee range so you don't get maged as much, because her mage drains your prayer. So that's it, quest boss done with just no supplies whatsoever, just broad bolts as usual. God, I love range, it's so good. But there we go. We get 15,000 in our mage, which is nothing, but we do get 10k in our prayer, which is going to help towards 66, so that's kind of nice. We also get 10k fishing XP. And there's Swan Song complete, so we now have access to the fishing colony. We can fish and cook monkfish if we want to. So actually I'm just going to get some because we are low on health and maybe it's a diary task. But we do obviously get access to claiming the brown apron as well from the necromancer guy if we ever want to get into the crafting guild. Even though you can get a brown apron out of your tool store in your house. If you forget to bring one, for example, then at least that's something. And that should also be the final thing we need to do to unlock making friends with my arm, which is kind of the primary reason you do Swan Song. Everything else is completed. That quest is a little bit more difficult, but it is nice to have that unlocked. Just went to Chaos Druids for a little while just to make a couple of prayer pots. If we take a look at the herb log currently, we're 4,600 off 65. We can then clean Cadentines, and then at 66 we can actually make super defense pots. So I'm just trying to sort of eke towards this 65, because I did actually pick up a Cadentine at the Chaos Druids. So if we can get 65, I can do a +1 boost with some kind of beer. And then we can just make a super defense and do that Fremenic diary task now. Hey guys, just making use of our Mauritania medium here to try and convert 13 dragon bones straight into delicious ecto tokens for some lovely prayer XP. So like I say, we can do this 13 bones each day with our current tier of the diary. Still not really sure what the most efficient way to do prayer is on this account yet. I mean, I've tried the Forthos dungeon a couple of times, I've tried meleeing the small dragons, I've tried ranging the big dragons, offering them all in there. The XP's okay, but it's still only a few thousand an hour. And since we're putting all our diary lamps and stuff into Herblore, I'm not getting prayer XP from anywhere. So I'm really not sure. I might actually end up trying the pest control method to see if that's any better. Because honestly, if it's like 10k an hour or more, then it might be our best method at the minute. Right guys, you've seen the invent, you know what's happening. We need to get our defender back, so let's just do it. I'm hoping that we can go straight downstairs and go straight for the dragon one. I think that's how this works. I think last time we went like 2.5 times dry or something, so hopefully it balances out and we get one in like 10 KC. Really need that offhand back so we can actually do some melee damage going forward. Hey guys, here we are doing some Cyclopses. As you can see, our weapons changed. We actually managed to pull a 1 in 2090 or something dragon spear drop, so that's one for the collection log. And it's actually surpassed the dragon mace as being our main hand weapon, because obviously the offhand anti-dragon shield's not providing any offensive bonuses. So this is actually just 5 strength better than the dragon mace. Another trip of tokens, guys. 114 kills now, once again dry. There it is. There's just something so beautiful about that blue text. I can finally replace this dragon spear as well, because with the defender the dragon mace will slightly be better. I'm thinking what I'll do is we'll grab the Slayer helm back and just go do some Slayer tasks and try and get some ensouled heads for our prayer grind. So I might just go back to Steve/Neve, get a bunch of juicy Bloodveld tasks, get those 1 in 20 ensouled heads, and just send it that way. There's 66 prayer coming in, bearing big bones at the Cave Horrors. Hoping we don't go too dry on this black mass, but even if we do, we're going to get a couple of ensouled heads along the way, and some nice herb seeds for Herblore, so let's go. Hello guys, it's another day. I've gone through all those prayer pots and all those super restores now, so I may have to sort of take a break on going for the black mask and go get some more. I did at the very least manage to get 65 Herblore by doing the potions in between runs, so that was good. But yeah, once again dry, whoa! Right guys, just working on something before we go back to Cave Horrors. I'm going to try and do this hard clue, because this is like step 3 or 4. I think I can buy an Addy2H, and in doing my research I was reminded of the RD Gem stall here, and how each world it sells 1 ruby. Now in the past we didn't really have the cash to buy these, but currently we need about, I think, 80 more rubies for the dig site pendant museum guy, and they're only 1.5k each. So if we buy his entire stock in order to complete our dig site pendant, then it'll only cost us about 120k. And seeing as we have 440k on us, I'm just going to world hop and get all these like 80 or 90 rubies and just send this dig site pendant thing now. So we've got a dig site pendant, we've got 100 cosmics, we've got 500 fires, and we've got 8 rubies, so that should be everything. So in theory we should be able to turn that whole pile of 9-10 items into a single Curator's Medallion. There we go, Curator's Medallion. And there it is, a mounted dig site pendant on the account. I've wanted this for so long. We can't actually go to Lithkren, you can only do that after Dragon Slayer 2, that's the Rune Dragon dungeon. But if we do teleport here, then we'll be in the house on the hill and we can use the magic mush tree, get to all the birdhouses really easily. So what I'm going to do next is go to the gem rocks, try and get a diamond, make this ring of life, go buy an Addy2H and try and do this clue. This will be step 4, so it could be the last one or there could be another one. So wish me luck, off to do some clues. Now it says we don't have the correct Amulet of Glory. I'm faithful in Jagex that the Amulet of Glory 4 counts as a glory, because if it doesn't then... If we literally need to uncharge this... Okay, back again after having to empty our glory of teleports. Thanks Jagex, I had faith, but I was wrong to do so. And Wilderness Graveyard of Shadows Zami Wizard. It's really disappointing. But yeah, at some stage down the line I do actually want to get some clues done. Probably be either Falador Guards for mediums or easies from ham members, because I do want to complete some god books. Sadly this hard clue is not one that we can complete, so that is a shame. What we need is actually 100 combat on the account ideally. That means we can do Karam Jihad because we'll be able to pick up a Doradel task. It also means that we'll be able to complete a hard game of pest control, which is a task, and also we can actually do some pest control and see if it's worth turning in the points from that for prayer XP or maybe even going for void. Hey gamers, so what I've done is, since we had 3 Dragonstones on us, just been to Gargoyles, done one quick trip, made a little bit of money. I actually alked the Barrows gloves. What I'm going to do is just really quickly go charge this combat bracelet, and just equip it on our character. Now the stats are a lot worse than Barrows gloves, but the reason is we obviously need to get 10 pieces of Dragonstone jewellery at the same time. So if we have one equipped, then that'll reduce the number of inventory spaces we need down to just 9. And we also get to do a hard task where we actually charge a combat bracelet. Plus I kind of needed some GP, so alking the Barrows gloves not really a big deal. Getting these extra tellies is going to be so big, because the skills and combat ones are really good. Specifically Farming Guild, it'll be really quick to get there instead of using the Fairy Ring after that. That's kind of the immediate goal for the account. Obviously we also are going for the Black Mask, but yeah. Tasty frog potions. These aren't the greatest XP in the world, but it is relatively easy to get Toadflax seeds. Been getting a whole bunch from Cave Horrors. Sadly the potions are only worth 80 XP each. It's about half what we can get from our very best potion at the minute. But you know, 80 XP is more than 0 XP. Right guys, that's all our herblore and farming complete. We're back to the Cave Horrors, because I feel like Slayer's just a nice chill way of getting our prayer up, so we can do 3 different diaries, including the Barrows diary, and put all the lamps from those into herblore as well. What I also want to do is get this last mage level. Like I say, I'm not going to focus on it too much because we are doing so much alking and teleporting around that you do passively earn mage XP every day. Once we get 80, we get Blood Blitz, which we'll use during Song of the Elves on the boss fight, and also we can +3 boost with a Mind Bomb and make the Barrows portal in our house, which is going to be better than the Berg de Rot legs. Sorry for the really ugly boxes on everything, it's just, when you spend so many hours here, you want to make it as easy as possible for yourself to click on these guys. There's 71 Hunter, guys. With our current crafting level, we can actually make magic birdhouses, but we can't actually use them for Hunter until 74, so 3 more levels. So at this point, since we are out of prayer pots and super restores entirely, I decided to just snip off and do some Slayer tasks without the Slayer helm, just to try and get some tasks that would drop some herb seeds so we could actually get some supplies back to kill more cave horrors. So I actually did a Wyvern task and an Aberrant Spectre task, which were both pretty good. I'm just going to do this random Fremi task to make a super defense in the Relica area. I've got a beer for the boost for the 1 level that we need, and I've also forgotten to bring the berries. And there we go, that's a hard Fremi area task, which is good. We'll have a look at the Fremi tasks at some stage relatively soon, because we're super close to being able to do the medium. Right guys, after a long day of messing about, we're back in the Cave Horror Cave. We picked up a Snapdragon Seed, I think, during our Spectre task, or maybe it was during our Wyvern task, not sure, but finally the fruits of our labour have come through. That 1 seed's grown into 6 full Super Restore 4s, so we're back to Cave Horrors basically for the rest of the evening. So I tried my best to do as many hard clues as possible from the Cave Horrors, because they do drop quite a few, and this one that we actually managed to complete, I actually managed to pull an Armadillo D'hide top, which is such an insanely good item. Obviously since the Black D'hide nerf, Black D'hide tops have way less defense stats than this. It has the same range bonus but an extra prayer and some extra defense, so that's really nice to have. From more or less a whole day of doing Cave Horrors, I actually pulled over 10 hard clues, but this is the only one we were actually able to complete, so it's really nice that we actually pulled something nice. At least we were also getting ourselves some melee XP here. I actually got 77 attack during this little grind, which actually pushes up to 99 combat, so 1 more level for a bunch of other activities that we're going to unlock. And speaking of unlocks, there's the Black Mask finally coming in. This is Black Mask 2, and in total it took us 1,629 kills to get our 2 Black Masks so far. Just pop the loot on screen. I made sure to take a screenshot of all the things we received throughout this grind, just in case you were interested. It's almost like a Mr. No Sleep video, but not, you know, good. Anyway, yeah, I just went straight back to Nightmare Zone after this to get ourselves the Imbue. I actually forgot that since we were last here, we've done a bunch of quests, so we've unlocked a bunch more bosses that we need to actually switch off. So I had a couple of failed runs because I had really rubbish bosses turned on by default, and I almost ran out of GP to actually be able to get the Imbue, but I finally got it back, so we had our Imbued Slayer Helm finally. So we can go do some cheeky Slayer now, do some Insold Heads. Sadly, we're on Aberrant Spectres at the minute. Can't get any prayer XP from those. I can't get the Soul Sucker or whatever it's called from Soul Wars because I can't get into Soul Wars. So yeah, I guess I'll just go do this Aberrant Spectre task and then see if we get another task after to give us some nice Insold Heads. Slayer Helm and Defender back on the account. Only took, honestly, like 2 solid days, almost 3, to get these 2 items back, so just a note for in future if I decide to drop these again. Is there anything better than a nice crop of Snapdragons? I don't think there is. Hey guys, it's got our shield left half here from Spectres. Don't know the drop rate, but obviously we are always camping the Ring of Wealth. Now we need to hold on to this till we can get 750k coins to buy the other half of the shield, and then put those halves together for the Ardy Hard diary. So we'll have a look at the things we need to do for Ardy Hard after this task. But that's cool, it's a little task for us to go do. Really hoping for something like a Korask task, or maybe actually Gargs. that would be ideal, because we need some GP. Hey guys, it's your favourite mushroom smashing gamer. Got ourselves 78 attack on the account, which actually puts us to 99.6 combat. So we just need really 2 of any melee skills, and we'll be 100 combat. Oh no guys, this is not what we want to see. 37 seal dragons on the account. We do actually have to go kill a steel dragon in that Brimhaven dungeon near Tybur One Eye that we unlocked for a task, so I think I'll go kill one in there at least. And then this is probably a cancel or a block, to be honest. Right, that's 1 dragon down. It used like half an inventory of food, so certainly not doing this task. But if we take a look here at Karam Jihad, all we have left is get 100 combat, which is, like I say, 2 more melee levels, and then pick up a Slayer task from Doradel. And then also we just need to get halfway into the fight caves and kill one of the mages. I think they appear like wave 30 or something. I'll probably do this task before we actually go for a fire cave. I'm not going to bother with a fire cape for quite a while, just because I don't really want to spend the extra invent space on that, because the Ardy Cape's more useful to us. Dude, what is this? Why is the dragon mace going off so hard against these wyverns? I don't know what the defences are, but the last few times I did these I've been crossbowing them, but it must be the D-hides. The new Blessed D-hide top's got a lot more defence than the old one. Obviously we get magic defence on the shield as well. Oh, look at those fossils. It's a real shame we can't really use those. Fossils would save us so much time. We could probably honestly already have 70 Herblore if we'd like been able to do fossils properly, but hey everybody, here's some ensouled heads. I only got 4 from this task, but you know, hey, 780 XP, that's not bad at all. I think if we're really desperate to level prayer, I might just kill some hill giants off task, because supposedly they're really good for ensouled heads. It's something like a 1 in 25. But hill giants only have 35 health, so you can actually get some really quick giant heads. Of course they're not the highest XP heads, but you can get them really quick, so it might be a viable option for us. Hey, get a look at that. 243 of the finest gargoyles. Hey you guys, just got the key for the gargoyle boss. So what I'm going to do is just really quickly run upstairs before I forget and leave, because you can actually just use this key on the door upstairs, unlock it permanently, and then you can come fight the boss whenever you like, as long as you're on a gargoyle task. So yeah, certainly not going to do these today. Already killed 30 of these guys pretty much. Don't know what we had before, but we've probably made about 100k. So just such a good Slayer task. And they actually go down relatively quickly. They are slightly weak to crush, so even though our weapon is absolute trash, we are hitting okay. As expected, I passed the 750k during this task, so I just nipped to the Legends Guild, bought the other half of the shield, then smith them together in Ardy. I think this thing alks for like 300k, so we made some cash back, but that's an Ardy hard task out the way. Hey, blokes, fellas, geezers, and probably like 2% women. What's going on? I'm currently doing Fire Giants just as a random Slayer task because we want ensouled heads in this quote-unquote new location. It's new to me, I've never been here before, and it maintains, if you didn't know this, the prayer restoring effect when you bury bones in here, like it's the actual Catacombs of Koren. You can actually set up a cannon inside, and there's hill giants in here. So if we wanted to try and like farm hill giants, as you can see I've already made some cannonballs with our gargoyle loot from the other night. This is probably going to be the best place to set up a cannon and farm some hill giant ensouled heads. Because obviously everyone that we kill, and they only have 35 HP each, will actually give us 2 prayer back as well, and we'll also have the chance for these ancient shards and totem pieces, so I feel like this is probably a good spot. Never really played with this dungeon before, but yeah, really surprising there's a dungeon with the prayer restoring effect and the cannon spot, even though it is only singles. So that could be really good for our account, if we can ever afford a cannon, because they're like 800k. Dude, no way! A cut dragonstone! That's awesome! And then with this dragonstone, we now have 4 out of 10 dragonstones, and also half a crystal key, which always gives you a dragonstone. So we've got 4.5 of our 10 dragonstones for Jewelry Box 2. I've got to do the YouTuber thing here and look up the drop rate. It's actually like in the contract if you sign up with YouTube. Don't quote me on this if I'm wrong. It could be a 1 in 8,192. I think at some point we will have to go just farm shooting stars and get those gem packs again until we have 10 of these. Because at a certain point our inventory is just going to get so cramped with dragonstones and dragonstone items that the game's going to become kind of unplayable. Probably when we get like 2 or 3 more dragonstones and maybe some more key halves. But yeah, nice to have a 1 in 8k dragonstone towards the 10 that we need. Hey guys, there's 76 Slayer coming in, our first level since coming back and doing some cheeky Slayer. As you can see, we've got ourselves some loops and some heads. So this Fire Giant task is going pretty well, and I'm just really enjoying how easy it is to get back here. So just go to Ardy Monastery or our player-owned house, fill our prayer, and then just take our Korend portal and up the vine that's quite close to the entrance, and then we're right here. So yeah. Hey guys, there's also 78 defense coming in from this task, which might actually mean we are now 100 combat on the account. As you can see here are the melee stats. So now we can go play the hardest difficulty of pest control for the Western Hard Diary, and also to progress towards Void if we ever want it. And we can also pick up a Doradale task, which I will actually do once we've killed these last 10 fire giants. There's 67 prayer on the account, 3 more, then we can do all our piety-based mischief. Right guys, here we are, Shiloh Village. Aberrant Spectres, that's okay. So that is obviously a Karamja Hard Diary task. We're picking up a task from this guy. So what I'm going to do now is to go nip straight over to Pest Control and play a game of the 100 Combat Pest Control. And then we're going to get our Western Hard task for that one. So in theory we could get Void if we need it, maybe for like a Zulrah kill or something. You know, it's not really important, especially till after Western Hard when you actually unlock Elite Void. Maybe Elite Void range or something will be good, because our range level is relatively high, so we could actually make some good use out of Elite Void at this stage in the account. But anyway, that's a consideration for way down the line. So there we go, a hard game of Pest Control. We have 12 points, we've got 5 for playing that, so it's actually not too bad, honestly. Also, we can turn in points for Prayer XP, which is interesting. I know that used to be the meta method for UIMs before the death pile changes, so you can safely go to the Wildy. But obviously we're not allowed to use death piles on this account, so if we did go to the Wildy we'd have to take everything with us. I might come back and test the prayer method if the hill giants turn out to be bad, because really I just want these 3 prayer levels. I'm going to decide what the inventory is going to look like, probably go swap over to the Arceus spellbook, and then we'll go over to that giant cave that I just killed those fire giants in, because it looks like the best place. It'd be a lot nicer if we had access to the Bone Crusher, but obviously you can't get the Bone Crusher till you have 70 prayer. So yeah. Right guys, here we are, with really no gear on us. No potions, no food, just going to bonk some giants. Bury all the big bones that I can, and then any time their ensouled heads pop out the ground, we'll reanimate those while we're stood here with this spell. Because that's something you can do if somehow you didn't know. If you don't pick an ensouled head up and carry it too far away, you can just reanimate it where you are, providing you're already on the spellbook. I'm just going to test the XP an hour here. Like I say, I've reset my tracker off to the side. I guess it's largely dependent on the number of ensouled heads you get, but these guys only have 35 HP, so in theory we can 2-shot these if we're lucky. Then we'll do a little bit of research and compare it to something like Pest Control, how much XP an hour that is compared to this, and which one's more reclined or valuable for our account. So here's an ensouled head finally. So as you can see, you can just raise them right here. Hey, there's our first giant key on the account. I guess we take it. Obviously that's for the Obor boss over in the Edgefield dungeon. I don't think he drops anything of value, but he does always drop an ensouled head. So I guess in that regard it's probably worth doing. It's like a guaranteed 650 prayer XP. I guess we'll try and find a place to hang on to this in our ever-dwindling invent. Right guys, here we are after 1 hour of Dark Hill Giants. As you can see we got about 12k, maybe a little bit less than 12k XP in that hour. So it's like 15 hours and a bit of doing this, which is definitely doable. We did 240 hill giants in that first hour, which is respectable to say we're using a dragon mace. We didn't really get anything special, but we did do 13 ensouled heads, which I think is actually above drop rate, so most hours would get less XP than this. Yeah, it's probably less than, it's probably like 11k an hour. So what we'll do next, I guess, is go use up all this garbage, turn these bones in, make some prayer pots, sell these runes, and then we'll go maybe try Pest Control for an hour and see what the points from that are like in terms of prayer XP, just to compare. Right guys, that is an hour of hard mode Pest Control. As you can see the timer's a little bit over, but I took a break in the middle, so that is around an hour exactly. And I feel like we had 12 points to start with. If we go talk to our boy here, we'll see how many we earned. 132! Which means I guess we did 24 games in that hour, which is, I guess, respectable, maybe a bit under average. And then we'll purchase exactly 120 points worth of prayer XP. So 10, 10 and 100. 16.4k prayer XP. Almost 50% better than doing hill giants. Obviously we don't get any giant keys out of it, but I'm not really too fussed about those. That's an option to add to the list. I'll just note that down. 16.4k XP an hour. But I think for now I'll just stay here, because it's actually really chill. It's relatively AFK, as long as you're clicking something. But yeah, certainly better than doing the hill giant method. Even though the hill giants, again, are super chill. You don't need any food for that either. And you do come out with some kind of garbage loot. And I guess you can work towards the giant champion scroll if you care about that as well. But like I say, for now, we will stick with this method for a little bit tonight. We don't need to be here too long. It's something like 10.5 hours total. But we actually make some money for this as well. If we do about sort of 24-ish games an hour, each game gives you 1k coins, or rather it's 10 times your combat level as coins, so for us it's 1k, but I guess you can get up to like 1260 coins per game, which isn't much more. So yeah, you can get like 20 odd k GP an hour as well, which isn't nothing, you know, it's going to add up. And then also we get, like I say, around 16k prayer XP an hour, and we also earn a little bit of combat XP. Obviously it's not as good as like doing Slayer or something, because there's so much walking around and waiting where you're not actually hitting things. But yeah, honestly, it's just all around quite a good method. But we'll call it like 10 hours. So yeah, just going to chill here. Here are the current stats. Probably be done with this tomorrow or the day after. And then we'll get our 70 prayer and do some diaries. Ahoy gamers, it's a brand new day of RuneScape. I've been doing this all day. So we might actually have enough. If not, we'll be very, very slightly short. We're starting on 578k. So let's just buy a bunch of 100 prayer XPs in one go. So for 100 points we're getting 13,000 prayer XP. There's 68 prayer coming in. And a couple more claims. As you can see at the top, our prayer level's just firing up. I mean, it kind of sucks to play this, but it's real nice to do all the claims at the end. 69 prayer, one more for piety. And that, my friends, in classic UIM style, is 70 prayer on the account. That's piety coming in. Absolutely massive. That's really, really good. So that unlocks about 3 different hard diaries that we can now go do. And as you can see, the cash stack's actually gone up a bunch, because we get 1k coins per game. I think we had like 300 odd k, maybe 400k when we started, so we've made a little bit of money, which is nice. So what I'm going to do now is go have a look at all the diaries that we can now do with our 70 prayer, go knock all those out, and then before we go into more exciting combat, I think we're going to need to go farm our dragon stones to get this garbage out of our invent. Right guys, first things first, Mauritania hard. I'm really hoping our watermelons on Harmony Island have actually grown. I think I just need to dig up 1 melon. Yep, there we go. Next thing, we need to go use our piety at the altar of nature, and then we pray here, and that should be Mauritania hard complete. What an unbelievable milestone for any account, honestly. Also piety, let's just take a quick look. So the upgrade from chivalry that we could already use, 5% more in everything while this prayer's on over this prayer. So really happy to have that. It's going to help us do the vampire quests where we need to beat those bosses using the flail weapon. And that is also now something that we could go do, because I do want to unlock the sepulchre. I want to get our agility up higher before we attempt Morning's End and those other horrible quests. So we'll claim our hard diary here. A 15k lamp as usual, which I'll put straight into Herblore now. And that gets us 66, which is another huge Herblore level on the account. 4 left till Song of the Elves, that's our last skill. I'm so excited, and that'll be super defenses without a boost, which is really nice now. So our rewards here, we get unlimited teleports to Berg de Rot. So as you can see here with these legs that will be reclaimable from Lumbridge, so we can get right to the start of temple trekking, we can get very, very close to Shades of Morton if we ever want to go back and do that. And then also we get quite close to the start of Barrows, but I am intending to make a Barrows portal in our house, so yeah, we can get the Bone Crusher now. It only gives half the prayer XP until you do the Elite Diary, but it is nice to go get if we ever do any combat with bones. When we cast Bloom in the swamp, we get double fungus, so when it comes to making super energies and eventually turning those into staminas, that'll be quicker, so that's really nice. But then the main thing is you get 50% more runes from Barrows. I think it makes Barrows actually profitable on runes if you use like a trident or something there. So next up, let's go do another hard diary. I believe we can go do the Falador one relatively easily. Just requires us to get ourselves a light source and kill the giant mole once. So I'm going to go get the items together for a giant mole KC, and I'll see you in Fally. Right, here we are in the White Knight's castle. I need to speak to this dude and turn our family crest into the Saradomin one, which requires 70 prayer. You can come back and change this later, and it lets you, in your house, make different, like, rune kites and stuff. So there's that, and there's only a mole kill left to complete the Falador hard diary. Hey, that's our first mole kill on the account, absolutely massive. And that is the hard diary and 2 combat tasks apparently. Now this isn't the best diary in the game in terms of rewards, you really don't get very much. We get access to a bank chest in the crafting guild, which is largely worthless for us. We get the Heroes Guild shortcut downstairs to charge our glories, so that'll make that a little bit quicker, which is something. It also means the mole drops noted claws and skins going forward, so you can actually do more than 1 kill a trip, which is nice. And we also get the shield with the mole locator on it. So killing mole becomes viable after this diary. And we get another 15,000 XP lamp, which is of course going straight into Herblore. Now sadly that's only a third of a level at this stage, so it's really slowing down, but it is always nice to get free Herblore XP, because we still need level 70, and it's the last thing we need for Quest Cape. So, right guys, here we are in Seer's Village at the courthouse. I think we need to just enter here with Piety turned on, just like we did for other diaries. There we go. Just chopped ourselves a yew log and a maple log and grabbed a cheeky flax. Quite a few tasks here left. I think there's about 5 or 6 tasks to do in the Kandarin area, including killing a mithril dragon and running through the Tavli dungeon to make a water orb. So here we go, we make ourselves a yew longbow. There's a hard task. And then we also need to burn a maple log with a bow, and since we've just made a bow, we can do that. There we go, so that's 2 nice hard tasks. Let's just quickly take a look at Kandarin. So we need to charge a water orb, so I just need to grab some runes and the items from a charter ship to blow an uncharged orb, and then run through Tavli Dungeon to the end and just make that, so we can go do that first. Then we need to make an Addy Spear. I guess we can just mine and smith an Addy Bar with our current stats, which is really nice, we'll do that. And then finally we need to kill a mithril dragon, which could be potentially quite hard. We may be able to, with like a botanical pie or a garden pie or something, actually boost to an anti-fire potion. They're only 69. So maybe when we run through the Tavli dungeon to charge our water orb, we'll grab a blue dragon scale on the way, and then maybe that'll make our myth dragon kill a bit easier. Right guys, hyper efficient gamer here. I've just got the 6 coal that we need and a pickaxe to make our Addy Bar for the Kandarin diary. Now what we actually need to do for the Fremihard a bit later is mine 5 Addy ore in this mine on Jatizo. Then we'll just need to grab a hammer and head over to Otto at Barbarian Fishing, just make our adamant spear. So that's the spear. So now it gives us the tutorial for burning the chewed bones. So that's good. We have access to the whirlpool, and then we should learn the ability to make hastas. Right, Tavli Dungeon Enjoyers. Just going to grab a blue dragon scale on the way round, and then if we can find somewhere to grab a cheeky lantadime and a pie to boost our herblore by 3, then we can actually make an anti-fire potion to go face that myth dragon for our final Kandarin task. And there we go, there is a hard task. So, lantadimes. Supposedly there's a chest here on the Isle of Souls in the dungeon that you can thieve from with like 20 thieving or something, so gonna go try that. Got ourselves a lockpick. So you can get all sorts of weird things, couple of runes as you can see. You can get like bird snares and box traps and mithril tools. You can get a medium clue at 1 in 100, and you can also get a dark key at 1 in 200, which opens a different chest in here. Also, if you fail, you have a chance to be teleported outside like this, so you have to run all the way back through. I wouldn't train at this chest because of how you can get teleported out like this and how you sometimes fail, but since we only need a 1 in 16 lantadime, then we're just going to sit here till we get that. Hey, there we go, lovely little lantadime from the chest. Also pulled 2 runars, which is really nice, so we'll go whip those up into prayer pots as well. As you can see, the inventory is just awfully messy. Right guys, med clue complete. Not expecting anything, let's say 2 Addy items. Yeah, nothing really. Some alkables, I guess, and 12k in coins. Certainly can't turn our nose up at that. It's just nice to be able to do a clue. There was no equipment steps in that one. It was purely just talking to people steps. There's our fruit top for our botanical pie. And then we can make an anti-fire pot. The first anti-fire we've crafted on the account. Absolutely awesome. So we can use this for 6 minutes of better anti-fire protection that will stack in some way with our shield. Okay, here we are. Pretty scared, not gonna lie. Chug a dose of our pot before we run past the green drags, because they're going to tag us as well. Certainly got enough prayer for this, I just don't think we have enough food for this. But again, this is the last thing we need for the Kandarin diary, so... don't know what his max hit is either, it's probably something I should have looked at. Let's try and walk under him and eat some food. I'm just carrying so much rubbish at the minute, which is kind of annoying. I've got these cannonballs that I don't want to drop because they're a lot of work to make, but I also don't have the money for a cannon, so we may have to just ditch those. And obviously we also have these giant keys from when we tried the hill giants for prayer, which I need to go use. I mean, of course we can always sell some of our runes, we can sell our natures and our fires, that's always an option. Guess we'll just hover this because we're probably going to have to tele out. I mean, if we're quick and no one else comes here, we could come back. Yeah, we've got to leave, that's a shame. We'll just run back and try and finish off the same myth dragon before anyone else shows up or before it heals. I think that should be possible if we don't take too long. Hopefully this guy hasn't reset. Hey, he's got 66 health, that's looking good. Guess it doesn't matter if we have to take another anti-fire sip for this attempt, because we're going to drop it after this anyway. There we go, that's a myth dragon killed, fully legitimately, I won't hear anything said otherwise. And that is Kandarin hard complete. So we get the helmet. Now the helmet's actually got an upgrade, it now has 1 daily teleport to Sherlock, so if you're doing any like elite or master clues and you need to come speak to this guy, it's a nice easy way to get over here. It's kind of easy to get to anyway because it's really near the Seer's teleport, so It's not that important, but it's good if you're doing clues, and obviously it still retains its ability to be a light source. We get another 15k Herblore lamp, so it's another third of a level. So only another lamp and a bit in order to get to 67. We can get some more Marks of Grace from the Agility course in Seers, which is something, I suppose. The Catherby Herd patch has less chance to die, which is really good. More Barb Assault points if we need to go back for the Elite Diary one day. But the big thing is we get a 10% increased chance for Enchanted Bolts to activate. So our Diamond and Ruby Bolts we'll probably be using for the Dragon Slayer 2 bosses. Will have more chance to actually activate. But also what we get is the Seer's Village right-click telly on the Camelot telly. Now this is helpful for when we need to get back to the Elemental Workshop to make our Mind Shield back for like Wyvern tasks. But the main thing is we got some more Herblore XP and another hard diary complete. So next up on the account, what we're going to look at is doing Fremenic Medium, because we only have 2 tasks to do for that one, and also the Karamja Hard, where we have to get halfway through the fight caves. So we're going to look into doing both of those two and see if we can grab the lamps from both of those. We've got a few other diaries that seem kind of close, but for both the Western and the Ardy diary, we're kind of locked off behind being able to do more of the elf quests, which we can't do until we're ready to do Monkey Madness 2. Aha! Gamers, didn't expect this one. It's Obor time. I literally just want to use our 2 Obor keys up, so we're just going to shoot him. That's it, that's the goal. So that was a kill. 2 Obor combat achievements. You always get an installed giant head, which I guess is something. Then hopefully if we just leave and come back, we should be able to do another KC with this amount of food, I hope. Like I say, it would be really nice if we could actually get rid of more stuff, like these cannonballs, but I guess we'll see. Let's see what we get from this second kill. 70 lore runes is honestly not bad. Anyway, that was some Obor content, potentially the only Obor content you'll ever see on this account. So yeah, I'll go use these installed heads, and then with a bit of invent space, we'll head over to the Fremenic area, complete Fremi Medium. Right, here we are in Relica, going to talk to our boy here, Ascalodon, or whatever his name is. Going to get ourselves a pet rock. And as you can see with the rune throne axes on us, we're going to head over to Waterbirth Island. And then we're going to come out the lighthouse end, where all the Dagonoths are. And that's a thing for the Fremi Medium Diary. Now the other one, we need to put this pet rock in our house and take it out again. I mentioned this a whole bunch of episodes ago. It's kind of an exception, honestly, but there's no way around it if we want to do this diary. And we do want to get to Fremi Hard and Elite eventually, because it requires us to go kill the DKs and kill all the God Wars bosses. So it'll make for some exciting content. So I think it's definitely worth it. Besides, it's not actually benefiting our account in any way, just dropping our rock in our house and picking it straight back up again. So I'm happy to do that. So we stand here, we turn our spec on, we throw it at this. For some reason it throws like a steel thrown axe on the graphic, which is kind of weird, but like I said before, the Fremenic Hard Diary is kind of going to be a little bit of a ways off. We can do most of the tasks, but there's one that needs like 75 thieving or something that I'm not going to be doing right now. There it is, there's our medium task to go through the entire Waterbirth dungeon and come out in the lighthouse basement, so that's really good. And then with that out of the way, all we need to do now is run over to our pet house and completely break our account by cheating here, and literally just use our pet rock on the pet house. Oh my god, I'm using storage, account ruined, and then just literally pick it straight back up again. So here we go, we get our Fremenic Sea Boots 2. Now they don't actually do anything more than the Sea Boots 1, it's still 1 daily telly that we've already used, so we can ditch those. They don't get an upgrade until later diaries, but what we do get is better approval gain and a shortcut on Miscellanea, so 2 useless things for us, and we also get an antique lamp worth 7.5k, so if we pop that into our Herblore, all we need now is 1 more hard diary, which is 15k XP, and we will have 67 Herblore. Hey guys, what's going on? What I'm doing here is getting 80 defense on the account. So now we have 80 strength and 80 defense. Going to switch over to attack. Just for a little while, probably get to 82. The reason I went for 80 defense is just because that's the level to literally equip every item in the game. So we just have all the hard requirements for defense done. Same with 82. I guess 82 is like the Fang Sword or something from the new raid. So we'll get 82 attack, 80 defense. Then we'll just do the rest of our melee on strength, probably all the way to 99. Right guys, hello. This was just a random bit of thieving here. Got ourselves 65 and 66 thieving. So with 65 we can do Menophyte Thugs, which means we can now do the Desert Hard Diary. We're just kind of limited by being able to do a Calphite Queen kill. And then 66 is the Sepulchre chests. So once we complete Taste of Hope, which should be quite simple, and then Sins of the Father afterwards, which will be a little bit harder, then we should be able to go to Sepulchre, take a lockpick with us, and in the meantime, crack a bunch of chests in there, get a whole bunch of like Ranarr seeds and prayer pots and nice alcohols, as well as the tokens to turn in for the uniques from that minigame. So that'll be really good. So yeah, just going to do my Tears of Guthix here. It'll go into Runecraft. Then after that, I guess I'm going to maybe have a look at Dragonstones, because that's the thing that's mostly holding us back at the minute. It's the fact that we have 4 invent spaces currently taken up by Dragonstones or Dragonstone items. So there's some Runecraft XP, 11,800, so decent amount. So with some Tears of Guthix juice down our throat, it's off to the Gorak plane here from Fairy Tail 2. Now specifically the Goraks here, not the ones in God Wars. They always drop a roll from the gem drop table, which is super useful. So if you're wearing the Ring of Wealth to get rid of the 50% chance to drop nothing, then Crystal Key halves here actually work out at 1 in 65. So we can assume that every 130 KC will probably end up with a full Crystal Key, which means 1 guaranteed Dragonstone from the Tavley chest. So that's probably going to be our best way to get 6 more Dragonstones and finish our Jewelry Box 2. Hey you guys, scratch the Gorak thing real quick. Actually, as soon as I got to the Goraks, I checked and it was around about star time. It said there was one on either Fossil Island or Mostly Harmless, so I pulled up the wiki map, ran around the potential spots, found this one. Got 1200 dust, which should be around the amount for a single Dragonstone. That's 4 gem packs. Hey, Tooth Half number 1, we take those. 2 full Crystal Keys, so that means we're now at 6 potential of our 10 Dragonstone items. There we go, there's 7 of our 10 Dragonstone pieces / Crystal Keys. Oh, guys, just got a back-to-back and they were both different halves of a key. We could be very, very close to being done here. So yeah, I think I'll stay here for just a little bit longer and then I'll probably just go crack this dust open. And I want to just see if there are any Dragonstones in the gem packs that we're going to buy so we know how many more keys we need to come back and get. Gamers, I've got so many spears. I'm like the Tybo Spear Shop. 2 Rune Spears, a Dragon Spear, and 87 range. There it is. It's just 1 more level and we get ourselves another max hit, which is really nice. Always love more max hits. I'm just going to open some of these crystal chests now while we're here. There's a key half, that's amazing. That's 4 packs. I guess we'll ditch the leftover dust because we're not going back to stars right now. Please a Dragonstone, please a Dragonstone, please a Dragonstone, please a Dragonstone. Great. Including the combat bracelet that's equipped, we currently have 8 Dragonstones and we have half a Crystal Key, so we need 1.5 Crystal Keys. But that's okay, it does give us some time to raise a cat. There we go guys, there's another Crystal Key, we literally just need 1 more loop half and we're done with our Dragonstone adventure. Dude, stop with the tooth halves, I literally need 1 loop. I've got 4 teeth in the inventory. There it is, our ticket to freedom. It's a loop half. That should be all of our Dragonstone jewellery pieces for the Jewellery Box 2. So first things first is we're going to actually have to go make all this stuff. The cat's still got 1 hour 12, so you can see that took like 1 hour 48 to get those last few after we stopped doing stars. So I'll go grab some gold bars from underneath the bank here, turn all of these into the appropriate jewellery, try and not press make all and waste some by mistake. Then we'll have to go buy some runes to enchant them, then go to the Legends Guild to charge them, and then sort out a whole bunch of other stuff. So, Spicy Stew time, you know how this works by now. It's a 1 in 11 chance to get the +5 boost that you want. Our kitten wasn't fully grown, so it took absolutely ages. The success chance of killing rats must have been like 1 in 15 or something. And then obviously, there's 4 different colours of spice you can get, and sometimes you get 1 doses, so it took so long just to get each 3-dose attempt. Despite all the difficulty, we actually managed to finish the Jewelry Box 2, so that's now in our house, finished and done. And also our hand slot is now once again freed back up, so we can re-equip any of the Colonirancer gloves if we want to actually get back into some combat. Speaking of combat, to reward myself for such an annoying evening of stressful kitten boosting, I decided to go do some really, really inefficient Barrows, just to have a little bit of fun, honestly. I just used our Mauritania Legs 3, didn't quite have the level 80 to boost for the Barrows portal just yet. I also didn't want to spend 400k getting Ivan's Blast back, or really spending too much on runes at all, so I actually just went with Slayer Staff and Slayer Dart. I think it hits 17s, which isn't horrendous, but it's really not good. So I just did some really, really inefficient Barrows, just a couple of chests. It was actually really fun. Really enjoy some Barrows, especially on an Iron Man account. It just hits so much different when you actually pull tons of runes or a unique. Barrows chest number 2. Carol's Coif. That's actually useless. It's a 7k alk, what the f? So I just did 9 Barrows chests. I didn't actually get any other uniques other than the Carol's Hood, but I did get a fair amount of runes thanks to the diary. Definitely will come back here later down the line. Just don't really want to get properly settled into Barrows until we've done like Morning's End 1 and 2, because we're going to have quite a tight inventory inside that Temple of Light maze, and I think we also don't want very much heavy stuff in our invent, so going for some full armor sets before we do that quest first doesn't seem like the best idea. Right guys, and with some Barrows done, I'm going to call this episode complete here. I really appreciate you guys and all your nice comments and messages, all the nice PMs in game and stuff, and all the support on these last few videos. It really does mean a lot. In this episode, we actually only got 2 quests complete. Obviously, the My Arm quest at the very start and Swan Song that comes after that. But that does mean that we do have the final My Arm quest now available to complete at some stage going forward, which is nice. Also, in this episode, we got a whole bunch of hard diaries finally complete because we finally sent our 70 prayer. Only took, I think, 10 hours-ish to get all the pest control points for those few levels. So that was really good. Now we have Piety on the account for if we need to do any meleeing. Got a couple of Herblore levels actually, just because we did so many diaries. We of course completed the Mauritania Hard, the Falador Hard, the Kandarin Hard, and the Fremenic Medium. All those hard diaries giving us 15k lamps and a bunch of really good unlocks. We can finally go do Barrows now, but like I mentioned just there at the end, probably going to wait till after Morning's End 2. We passed 100 combats, now we can do Doradel Slayer tasks and go back to veteran pest control games if we want to. For example, if we want more prayer levels or some void pieces. We made some big POH gains in this episode. We actually did our full mounted dig site pendant finally. Just hopped worlds a whole bunch of times, buying 1 ruby at a time till we had the last 80 or 90. So that's now done in our house to make our birdhouse runs even easier when we do need to go back to Fossil Island. Finally cleared our inventory up of a few Dragonstone pieces, which means we now have every teleport from the skills necklace and the combat bracelet in our house with unlimited charges, in addition to the dueling ring and the games neck tellies we already had. So that's absolutely massive. We can get to all the guilds like the Farming Guild, Crafting Guild, all that stuff really easily. Obviously, again, we got our Dragon Defender back and our Imbued Slayer Helm back. This took 2 to 3 entire days just to get those 2 items back, but I kind of wanted to skip over it a little bit just because we have covered it so much in previous episodes the first time we got both these things. Then also we did, I think, our 7th hard clue on the account. We pulled the Armadillo D-Hide Top, which is a really good item because we are primarily doing ranged at the moment. And at the very tail end there, we grabbed the Carol's Coif. Like I say, it's a useless item. So we got a whole lot done in this one. As you can see on screen, I've highlighted all the skills that we got up. We got all our combats up in some way, shape or form. We actually pulled 4 combat levels in this one. Got ourselves 5 defense levels, a strength level and 3 attack levels to push us over the 100 combat so we could do all those diaries. We've still got a couple of quests left on the account, but the number is seriously dwindling. I think it's less than 10 quests left now. So I really appreciate you guys watching so far. Hope you're enjoying the series. Any feedback or comments, please leave them below. I do read all of them. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. So thanks again, and see you later.